everyone, you guys, it's Karen and I'm here to discuss micellar waters. Specifically, should micellar water be washed off of your face, or should you just be able to use it with a cotton pad and continue on with your skincare? Hopefully by the end of this video you will agree that that question isn't really relevant. Should micellar water be washed off? That it's a different question, a more general question we should be asking. So I'm going to explain, I'm going to explain what a micellar water is and how it works, and then we'll look at the ingredients of some micellar waters, and I will touch on what other people's opinions are about why they think it should be washed off. There's a blog post by Karolina that's really interesting as well, and hopefully that will explain everything. So what is micellar water? Micellar water is a combination of water with surfactant, surfactant I will talk about in a moment, but those two together at the right levels, so a certain amount of each, will form what's called a micelle, so M-I-C-E-L-L-E, making it micellar water. Micelle is a group of molecules that form a specific shape. So if you imagine lots of little sperm, that's the best way to describe it, I think, because everybody will see that in their mind, like a little head and a little tail. A micelle is formed with a circle of these sperm with the heads facing out and the tails facing in. The heads are attracted to water, the oils are attracted to oil. So one of the questions I've been asked is which ingredient is the micellar, or makes it a micellar water? And the ingredient will be the surfactant combined with the water at a specific level. So what happens to these molecules when you put it onto a piece of cotton wool is the heads will face down and the tails will face up. So the tails that attract oil will be the ones that are exposed, and when you put it on your skin they will attract the oil and dirt and sweep it away. So water on its own is not micellar. Surfactant on its own is not micellar, but the two together form these micelles, these particular molecules that then work as a micellar water. This is not a new technology or a new discovery. This is something that has been in your dishwashing detergent for many years, and you'll find it in shampoo, and many products that you use that have surfactants in them will be micellar in nature. So we know what micellar water is, water and a surfactant. What is a surfactant? So it is something that can be used as a detergent, it can be used as a foaming agent, it can be used as an emulsion to help liquid and oil mix, and there are many different types of surfactants, there isn't just one. So lots of different micellar waters with completely different ingredients, which I think it may be why it's confusing to people, because I have had people look at ingredients and try and figure it out and say, but there's different ingredients, but they're all micellar waters. But that is because there is different types of surfactant. A surfactant that most people will have heard of, for example, is sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium lauryl sulfate. These are used in toothpaste, in shampoo, in washing up liquid, that kind of thing. So from what I've read on blogs and comments, etc., I think the reason people believe micellar water should be washed off is because of this surfactant. I think that people think it's like having sodium lauryl sulfate in a product, and the thinking is that if it's something meant to clean your skin, then it should be rinsed off, as most things that clean are rinsed off. So I understand that point of view. I can see where that thinking comes from. Just to say, I'm not here to say that you absolutely 100% should wash your micellar water off or shouldn't. I personally don't feel it's necessary for me, and hopefully I'll explain these reasons and you'll be able to make an informed decision as to whether it's something you want to do. But like I said, I understand the thinking that if it's for cleaning your skin, then it should be rinsed off, as most face washes, shampoos, toothpaste, etc. are. But there are three things that I think make the opinion of it's a cleaning agent, therefore shouldn't be left on your skin, less of a concern. Number one is that the surfactants used in micellar water are specifically mild. This product has been created to leave on the skin. It was discovered by French women, apparently, that didn't have easy access to water as a replacement for cleanser, although I don't necessarily think it should be that, but it is formulated to be left on skin. The instructions are to leave it on skin, and it is made that way. So it's made with surfactants that are much, much milder than what you would find in a shampoo or even a face wash. So the specific concentration that it needs to be at to form micelles makes it, by its nature, less irritating than other detergents or surfactants. Point number two is that all micellar waters are different. And so you can't really look at just should you wash micellar water off, because it depends on everything else in the micellar water. And even the surfactants used are very different. I've looked at 4 micellar waters, and the surfactants were different in each one. I did find then another one that used Polaxima 184, which is one of the surfactants used, but in the main they're different. And not just they use a different surfactant, some of them have alcohol, some of them have fragrance, some have oil in. You know, there's so many different ingredients in them that I think you can't talk about micellar as a group. Should you wash it off? A better question would be, what ingredients am I sensitive to and should therefore avoid? Which leads me on to my third point, which is perhaps the one that people don't realise. If the concern is that this is a surfactant being left on the skin and therefore should be rinsed off, then you would be of the opinion that you shouldn't use cleansing milks or toners either, certain toners and certain cleansing milks, because there is a surfactant in a lot of cleansing milks, a lot of cleansers, makeup removers such as this. This is the Garnier 2-in-1 makeup remover, and this has a surfactant in it because it's to remove makeup, but it's not a rinse off. And also in toners such as this. This is the Simple Toner. This also has a surfactant in it. So that's, I suppose, my main point in where it doesn't seem correct to say, should you wash micellar water off? Because if you say that, then it should be the case that you rinse your toner off, depending on the ingredients, that you rinse off your cleansing milk. And I think that that may be applicable to some people. To some people's skin, you may not want to use any kind of surfactant that is left on your skin. And for you, your skin may react better to using water and to rinsing everything off. For me personally, my skin doesn't react better to using water. It definitely reacts better to not using water. But even more than that, for example, these two here, this is the Simple Micellar Water and this is the Simple Toner. My skin doesn't like this. And I think that's because this has got a stronger surfactant in it than this. This has got sodium lauryl sulfosuccinate, I think. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a stronger detergent than is in this, and this is a toner. This is not a micellar water. So this is a micellar water. But additionally, this has witch hazel in it. I can't remember if it has any fragrance. Probably not, being simple. You would hope not. But like I said, my skin is happier with me using this than using this. But there isn't, I don't think, anybody that thinks you should rinse off your toner. Now, not all toners will have a surfactant in them, and not all cleansing milks will. But again, looking at cleansing milks, for example, there is a whole new range out by Garnier called Garnier Skin Active. And in the honey cleansing milk, there is an ingredient that is caustic soda. Lye, L-Y-E, which is the ingredient that you use to dissolve human bodies and has a pH of 13. So I suppose that's, I'm labouring the point, but it's about the ingredients of a product, not about specifically a micellar water. That's like saying moisturiser is bad for you. Well, which moisturiser? You know, they're all so varied. In addition to the whole detergent surfactant left on the skin, I think some other people rinsed off their micellar water because they didn't like the feeling of it on their skin. They felt like it left a residue. And in fact, one lady, I think it might have been somebody that wrote a blog or commented on a blog, was saying that she noticed with all of her micellar waters, she felt there was a residue because she would test it by putting water on her face in the shower and it would feel sort of silky, and that's not what skin should feel like if it's clean. I don't necessarily agree with that because it depends on the type of cleanser you're using. There's a lot of balms that don't leave your skin, you know, they would feel completely different to if you used an acne facial wash, for example. And also it depends on the water. My skin felt completely soft and almost slimy when I first moved to Scotland because the water in Scotland is so soft. I didn't even use a conditioner, and I have used a conditioner religiously since my teens, and I didn't use a conditioner for the first little while until my hair got used to it because it felt slimy and I felt like there was a residue on my skin, on my hair, everything. And the other thing is that some micellar waters, I'm not sure how many, but this one, for example, the Nivea one for dry skin, has almond oil in it, and so like I said, there's lots of different ingredients, and it could be the oil that's making that slimy feeling. It could be the water. There's many different things in the products that it could be. My question would be, if you are rinsing off a micellar water, why not use something that is formulated to be rinsed off, if rinsing off is your preference? But I'm not asking that in a I don't agree with it type of way. I'm just interested. So if any of you are using micellar water and rinsing it off, that's just a genuine question from me as to, are you doing that because you love micellar water but only if you rinse it off? Do you feel like it's good on your skin but only if you rinse it? Because like I said, I would wonder why you wouldn't use something then that was formulated for rinsing off. So I've got the ingredients listed here for the Garnier Micellar Water. I've actually got Bioderma and Nivea, but I think it would be pretty boring if I read you out all of the ingredients. But it was just kind of as an example about the ingredients that are in this micellar water. So in the Garnier Micellar Water, and this is the one that's pink, the one that is for normal skin, the one that combination and oily skin are completely different. I'll speak about those in a moment when I'm talking about Caroline Hyron's blog post. So Garnier, water is the #1 ingredient. So there we have 50% of what's required for a micellar water. #2 is hexylene glycol. That is just a thinner, and that is used in the ordinary glycolic toner. It's also used in the ordinary hyaluronic acid serum. So that's a fairly normal ingredient. Third ingredient is glycerin, also used in the ordinary glycolic toner. It's just a moisturizer type product. The fourth one is disodium cocofied acetate. That is coconut oil extract, so not something to be concerned about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have numbered these. #5 is disodium EDTA. That is a preservative. That's a preservative that's used in Peter Thomas Roth products, in Simple products, and probably many others, but those are the ones that I could find it used in. And when I say products, cleansing products, toners, things that are left on the skin. The last but one, in fact, let me tell you about the last ingredient because it's biguanide, which is PHMB. I've done a whole video on that, and that's why I don't use Garnier micellar water, because of the PHMB in it. That is a preservative. It's also used in Sanctuary skincare, in Skin Iceland skincare, a lot of other skincare. So the final ingredient, or the last but one ingredient, is Polaxima 184, and that is the surfactant. That is, along with the water, what makes this a micellar water. And that is used in a lot of cleansing milks. One is the La Roche-Posay cleansing milk. That has Polaxima 184 in it. But Polaxima 184 is, I have found other micellar waters with that in, but also other cleansers and cleansing milks. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in this one. Let's see what the surfactant is in this. As suspected, this has Polaxima 184 in it. So the Garnier micellar water has exactly the same ingredient as this, or this has exactly the same ingredient as the Garnier micellar water, and they are both geared towards putting on your skin. So I don't think anybody would think you should wash this one off. In case you're wondering why these aren't called micellar solutions, so this is the Kind to Skin toner and this one is the 2-in-1 makeup remover. They have water, they have a surfactant. Why are they not called micellar? It's probably because there isn't, no, not probably, it may be because there isn't the right level of the two to create micelles, because remember I said there needs to be an exact concentration of water versus surfactant. Or it could just be marketing, because there is an element of marketing in these micellar solutions, because like I said, it's not new, it's not novel, it's just a way of describing it, and it's something that's been around for a while, so it could just be marketing. So that hopefully gives you an example with that Garnier micellar water. Like I said, I have gone through and done that with the Bioderma and with the Nivea, and it came out with the same results. In every ingredient, I could find that ingredient in other leave-on solutions, so other cleansers and other toners. Let's talk about Caroline Hyron's blog post, because she's made some extra points which I think are really valid here. She's brilliant, isn't she? If you don't watch Caroline Hyron's, she's just a massive source of information. And actually, I was thinking with this video, I would love to have interviewed her, because there is one question I have that I'd love to know what her thoughts are on it, but she may have mentioned it in past videos, you can tell me. Anyway, what she says is beauty myth number 15, that micellar waters are a proper cleanser. And I totally agree now that they're not a cleanser. I did try in the beginning to use them as a cleanser, and I can see why they don't work. As I've explained, they are a milder surfactant cleaning agent than anything else. They are formulated to be mild because they are being left on the skin. So they are not going to be as heavy duty as other makeup removers and cleansers. For me, it took most of my face makeup off, but it just couldn't get my mascara off or my eyeliner, that kind of thing. So I use them as a toner. And in the morning, it's the only thing I use. I use a micellar water, one sweep with the cotton wool, and then in with my day SPF. So what she has said is, she was annoyed because there was a Marie Claire article and it said, she said, this is the sentence that riled me. It's free of soap, fragrance, alcohol and other abrasive chemicals. And Karolina said, no, just no. These waters are all chemical. Some contain alcohol and most contain fragrance. And so I wanted to point that out because she's right. They are not free of soap, fragrance and alcohol. Again, it depends on the product. The ones that I use are free of alcohol and have fragrance low on the list. When they first came out, I don't think many of them had alcohol in, but I remember there used to be, Garnier was the big one, wasn't it? Or the first one after Bioderma. And I remember they then came out with this one for oily combination skin in the green bottle, and I went and had a look at it and I was like, well, they've just added alcohol, that's ridiculous. And now I think a lot of brands are doing that, and there is alcohol in a lot of brands. So that's down to the product, that's down to which product you choose. The Simple one doesn't have alcohol in it, the Garnier doesn't have alcohol in it, the Nivea doesn't have alcohol in it. Actually, this is where I was saying I'd love to interview Karolina and ask her about alcohol and what she thinks about it. I seem to remember she mentioned it briefly a couple of years ago maybe, and said that she thought there was too much emphasis from Paula's Choice on being anti-alcohol, but she didn't really elaborate. But here in this article about micellar water, she said that it's not good that they contain alcohol, but a lot of her toners that she recommends, her favourite toners, etc., do include alcohol. So I wonder if it's down to where the alcohol is on the list, that she does think alcohol is okay at a certain level, which I would agree with. I think it's not as simple as no alcohol or alcohol, because if it's number 1 or 2, it's completely different to if it's very low down on the list and there's a lot of emollients above it. You know, there's a lot of other factors. Karolina doesn't actually mention whether you should rinse off or not, but like I said, in that sentence she said these waters are all chemical, and then she talks about the alcohol and fragrance. And yes, that is true. A micellar water is all chemical because it's a lot of water in it, and then a surfactant is a chemical. Normally there are natural surfactants, but they are chemical, but as much chemical as a cleanser or a toner that is designed to be left on your skin. I think it will be difficult to find a non-chemical makeup remover or cleanser. And then what she says is she doesn't understand people saying that they are quicker than cleansing, and I haven't ever heard anybody say that, and there definitely wouldn't be quicker. And her point is you would need to use so many cotton pads that you would be rubbing your skin raw, and I agree. Like I said, I did try it, but goodness me, I'd go through, I don't know, 10-15 cotton pads and still not have every bit of makeup off. So they're definitely not quicker. The quickest way for me to get my makeup off would be to use an oily cleanser in the shower. That would be the quickest way for me, but it's not the best for my skin. But yeah, I agree, it's not a quick way. That's at the end of that little exploration. Hopefully you can see then that the better question, if you don't like the feeling of micellar water, or you don't like the idea of leaving it on your skin, then perhaps a better question is, should I be using cleansers or makeup removers that are rinse off, because that's what I prefer, or should I look more closely at the ingredients in my preferred micellar water and see if there's anything in it that my skin is irritated by? Are there any alcohols or fragrance in it? Yeah, I think those are better questions, and you'll maybe get more out of it and a better reaction from your skin in general. Because if you're using a micellar water and rinsing it off because you don't like the feeling on your skin, then you might find that if you use a particular toner, and you might want to look at that toner and go, well actually yeah, I'll switch to you know, something like a glycolic toner shouldn't have a surfactant in it. That's everything. I hope that you found that useful. Please do let us know what you're doing in the comments with micellar water. Do you avoid it? Do you use it and rinse it off? Do you rinse it off because it feels horrible on your skin, or do you rinse it off because you don't like the thought of leaving that kind of product on your skin? If you do that, like I said earlier, why would you not just use a facial wash? That's just really interesting to me as to why if you felt like rinsing it off, you wouldn't just use a rinse off product. Is that because you like the watery substance maybe? I'm not even sure how you'd use it as a facial wash, other than maybe just with a cotton pad and then rinse off with a flannel. I don't know, with a face cloth, I'm not sure how that would work, but I'd love to know what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for watching. What have I got on my face? I've got on the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. I'm pretty pale today, so warm here today. I've also got on MAC Star Violet. Don't love it, I have to say. Last 2 days I've been wearing my MAC eyeshadows. I've decided to try and pay them some love. They are, after all, what I wore to my wedding, and I don't think I've used them for years, honestly. So yeah, I'm using them, but I don't love this look, and I didn't love the look I had on yesterday, but it's MAC Star Violet. Then on my cheeks is this blush by Essence in 70 Kissable. I've not got very much on my lips. There's not much left. I've just been putting lip balm on, so it's quite late in the day for me. But I did have some of this on. This is the lip gloss by L'Oreal in 101 Pink Moon. Looks like that. That's everything, I think. Yeah, that's everything. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you again in my next video.